Hello guys, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about my personal program and the evolution for May-June 2021. We always talk about A-B formats or ABC formats. Program A, Program B, Program C. This is a very easy way to get a lot of work done in a brief period of time. We've made several videos on the ABC idea, but let's talk about what we have going right now. Right now, my Program A is an experimental slam ball program. I sat down and I wrote 10 levels times 5 moves with an expansion to 15 total levels for actually 75 moves. The program keeps getting bigger and bigger. Basically what I'm doing here in the slam ball program is I'm running test formats on how this should work. We're running it as a time under tension protocol because slam ball is an intermediate weight with intermediate levels of complexity. So time under tension works pretty well. The time under tension I've said is pretty long, but I'm experimenting with several different ones, 30-30 of course, 60-60 and 90-30. So that's a lot of different timing formats, and we're basing those timing formats on the equipment we have available to us. 30-30 would be for super heavyweights. 60-60 is the one that I like the most, kind of, because it's good intermediate. 90-30 is if your slam ball is a little bit lighter than you would like it to be, so you have to jump up the time under tension in order to get more out of it. Our second program is, of course, kettlebell marathoning. I've been running this program now for about 5-6 months. It has dropped down. For a while there, last November, it was 5 days a week, and 5 days a week held until maybe February or March. In February and March, I had to drop it down to 2 days a week, or every B cycle, 1 to 2 days a week. And I'm running the 19K, the 23K, the 25K, and the 27K right now. Each one of these has their own progression. 19K is at, I think, 58 minutes right now. It's right at the edge of our 60-minute time. 23K is in the 30-minute range. 25 is still pretty low because I just started this one in 27. I think my 25 is at 20 minutes, and I think my 27 is at 16 minutes, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look at my book. This program is definitely going to stay in the rotation forever. I mean, at least 5 years. I have 5 years of this stuff written down that I can do to get better at marathoning. And marathoning has taken kettlebells to a whole new level for me. Kettlebells have this effect where when you start doing kettlebells, you start getting integrated strength, and you get stronger than you've probably ever been before because all your muscles work equally well and your structure is meant to support that. Even light kettlebells at 16-24K really help you get good structural alignment. For years, I did hard style, which means you focused on pure presses and your squats, and the sets were low so you could jack the weight up. That doesn't work super well after 10 years because there's only so many clean and press ladders that you want to do. Eventually you get bored of it. I pushed it into marathoning with the idea from JP of Gambate Fitness, who is an Ironman triathlete, that I should just start seeing if I could push kettlebells into the 30 to 60 minute range. Turns out that exists. It's called marathoning. But this has had an effect on my personal endurance, which has been astronomical. I don't think that there's anything better on the planet than kettlebell marathoning for pure endurance training, for building that general physical preparedness base for really high endurance activities like mountain biking or dirt biking or cross-country equestrian riding. I think that marathoning might be the ultimate thing right now because it's all hips, it's all legs. And I've been cycling in every other set is long cycle. So minute 1, minute 2 is a clean, minute 3, minute 4 is a long cycle, minute 5, minute 6 is something else. And then I go and I alternate 2 minutes of something else, 2 minutes of long cycle, 2 minutes of something else, 2 minutes of long cycle, in an effort to get better at long cycle. But I'm alternating these activities for now because I've had so many injuries. And if I just do long cycle, my body starts to hurt because I'm kind of overusing certain joint structures. By putting in the alternating movements, cleans, around the leg cleans, high transition snatches, all these other things, my body twists and rotates in different ways. And that allows me to survive the marathon very well. And I'm getting substantially better at it, which has been awesome. And I can see how people can run this idea for years. You can push this up. I'm going to start the 29 in here sometime soon. And you just start cycling through, and just not putting down the weight changes the way kettlebelling is entirely, from pure strength to that pure soft style, if you want to compare it to like Asian martial arts, to like almost an internal style of trying to become the most efficient mover you can, which I really like, because this has changed kettlebelling for me. After doing hard style for 14 years, moving into marathoning has definitely changed the way I'm doing things. And it has opened me up to the fact that I need to go back and start doing double jerk again. I haven't done double jerk in probably 10 years, frankly, because it was too hard to carry this around, to have a full set of kettlebells and drag it around the world to work on projects. That became too hard. This is now becoming a very viable option, just like the marathoning is now a very viable option because of the Kettlebell Kings adjustable competition kettlebell. I hear Titan also makes a very good one. I have the Kettlebell Kings one, so those are the ones that I talk about. But having these in-between weights, not an 18, not a 20, not a 22, not a 24, not a 24, not a 26, has opened up a whole new level. It just feels more fun because you can expand that marathoning through 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, all the way up to 32. And that just makes this idea go forever. Our third program, our C program design, is a strength day. I have not been doing strength days in a year since COVID started. I was on break when COVID started because I had just finished a movie project in Romania where we had to train 3 hours a day. It was a lot of training, and I got beat up, as you do when you train that much for 6 months straight with no days off and a sleeping schedule that doesn't stay constant. There's something called a rolling schedule in movies where on Monday you start at 8 a.m., but if you go over that day on time, the next day has to start that much later. So you tend to start at 8 a.m. on a Monday, and by Friday you're not starting until 2 p.m., which means your sleep cycle is always trash. So I haven't been doing strength since that because I was so beat up and overtrained that I just left the strength training out. And we did a lot of mace for recovery, for movement and recovery. We did some rowing, we did some ski erging, but we left out a lot of the really heavy stuff. Once I left LA and I got on the road, as I currently still am, strength becomes a lot harder to do because it's really hard to cart around pure strength equipment. Now that I have the Kettlebell Kings adjustable kettlebells, that's no longer a problem, because instead of dragging around 1,200 pounds of kettlebells, I can drag around 144, two of the adjustable competition kettlebells, which go up to 32K each, and you can start rebuilding these pure strength things. So we'll probably talk about pure strength in another video. We'll just make another video. But basically the program is press, squat, and gamma cast. So we're doing a single arm clean and press, and we're just jacking it up. Because we have the adjustable belt, we now have 1K increments, and I haven't done this in a long time, so it's reverse ladders, and then every time I'm adding 1K and I'm just building back up. I think I did 29K yesterday, and we did 8 sets of 3, 2, 1. The squat is really the limiting factor for me on this because I've had so many knee surgeries. Those knee surgeries in my left knee cause my right psoas to go a little bit weird and tweaky when I push heavy weights. I have to give myself more rest time and more cool down in order to make sure that I'm not hurting myself doing this, which is always a possibility with the number of injuries I have. And we have the gamma cast. We've put in the gamma cast because this is an easy place to put in the 8X adjustable mace. The 8X adjustable mace, I used to have solid maces, and that's what we always use, but with the adjustable mace, now I have a mace that can go anywhere from 7.5 pounds up to above 50 pounds in 1.25 pound increments. So same thing. We are walking all 3 of these up until I find a place where I fail. And then we will write our program based on this. I've been walking this up for about a month. Start easy. You would rather start easy and spend 3 weeks building back up to heavy weights than you would and just trying to run heavy weights right away and hurting yourself. Hurting yourself is always a problem for me, having been thrown off of horses, fallen off of aerial rigs, crashed dirt bikes. For the majority of my adult life, I have to walk this up. I'm currently looking to find the level at which this becomes too challenging, where I get close to failure. In the interest of keeping this whole program time controlled, which is always a goal, we're running this as every 2 minutes on the minute. So 2-minute timer starts, you do your reverse ladder. When the bell rings at the end of that 2 minutes, you do your squats and then you do your gamma casts. So each round takes 6 minutes. I am adding it up. I'm running between 6 and 10 rounds of this program. So we'll talk about this in more detail in another video, because this is just pure, simple build functional strength. I want to work on these squats because I don't have any real squats left in the marathon. The marathon has evolved over time into just pure hip hinge stuff. The long cycle, cleans, all the variations of clean, snatches, half snatches, around the bodies. And I've pulled out most of the squatting stuff out of the marathon because the weights are getting heavy. They cause the heart rate to become slightly uncontrolled for a period of time. I'm actually trying to use long cycle to reestablish heart rate control during the marathon. So this is the basic program, A, B, C. This is a lot of stuff to do. Trying to put this double jerk in here is going to be interesting. I'm going to have to make this super light. Because I have the adjustable kettlebells, I can now go back and run this again. We're going to run this as a time under tension protocol, 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, and we are going to control our pace. I'm thinking I'll start with 10 reps per 60 seconds, and we will run a volume cycle, as we always do. Volume cycles are a good way to not kill yourself if you have as many injuries as me. The other thing we have to do, which is a lot of extra work, is testing a program for BJJ Fanatics that I'm supposed to be shooting in a couple of weeks. And this is a basic club program that we're writing, which will focus just on the mill and the squat. This is supposed to be a generally small program that's meant for absolute beginners to the club world. Of course, I have to write something super long term. So this is a 10-week program that you can repeat with as many weights as you want, 8 to 10 weights, which would really make it a very long program. A 10-week program times 10 would be 100 weeks. This is meant to be short, but it's still a lot of stuff to do on top of all this other stuff. Being a trainer is fun because what you really spend most of your time doing is designing programs, testing them to make sure they make sense, and then reorganizing the whole thing over and over and over again. The more testing you do, the better all these programs get. So I'll be testing slam ball probably for the rest of the year, running the marathon test. I know how the strength is going to play out, but as a trainer, you are always running through these program ideas constantly because you can always make them better. Every year, I think that we might have hit a point where we can't make them better, but we can always make them better. You can make anything better if you practice, you think about it, and you redesign it over and over and over again. You're always focusing on your design that you're trying to do. When you're designing programs, you're always trying to solve that engineering equation. You're trying to make it as economical as possible. You're trying to determine which environments it can be done in. I'm always trying to get it to be done anywhere. We're always trying to make it time controlled, and we're always trying to figure out how to measure our outputs so that we can establish a base so that we can move forward over time with better, more progressive training. We're always trying to get more out of the same amount of time with the least amount of equipment.